Hey folks, this is ioEther and we're back playing some more World Tanks. So, as you can see, this is aFacsimile in his KV-4 on Elhu if it's of course a tier 8 game. Now, before we actually get into the game, if you want to talk to me, Duckster, Facebook, and Twitter links are all in the description below. As well as if you ever want to see me stream, follow me on Twitter, and you'll get notifications as to when I start streaming on Twitch. I do have a Twitch channel. It is in the description below, finally, after like having it for a year and forgetting to put it in the description for this long. Also, as always, the best way to support the channel is to like any videos you enjoy. And if you want to support me directly, my Patreon account is in the description below. Yay! Now that all that's out of the way, you can stop asking me if I'm streaming, because you follow me on Twitter, you will get the notifications as to when I'm streaming, because I always forget to put up a notice when I'm streaming. I normally stream for about 2-3 hours, and it's normally on a Saturday, as that's the time when I can get a bunch of friends together and we can have some fun. That's normally what I stream. Now that all of that's kind of out of the way, and that, you know, Fax is getting into the actual battle, we are in fact in fixed camera mode. Good. And Fax is running up here to, this is the heavy corner. This is where all the heavy tanks gather. The reason for that is it's the most direct way through into the enemy side of the map that doesn't involve running across an open field. And then up another steep mountain. So this is the way that the heavy tanks can most effectively get to the other side of the map. Thus, it's where all the heavy tanks congregate. Thus, it's where the major clash of forces comes together. This is where you'll get the most... Ooh, interesting. Tried to shoot the Chito on the move, sorry. Managed to miss, but didn't take any return damage, because it's a KV-FOURtress he's driving. Now if these guys could nicely move, that'd be lovely. Gets his tracks blown off in full view of all the enemy tanks, and no one's even shooting at him except for the Tiger 2 who bounces. And apparently he's just gonna stay here. Now, I'm gonna pause this for a sec. So this isn't a bad location where he is. He has obviously got himself set up on, can't see anything through that. Anyways, he's obviously got himself set up on a nice plane so that his lower glacis is sloped enough away that they're going to have a hard time penning him. And as long as he turns his turret every time he fires, they're going to have a hard time penning the front of his turret. Now if he turns his turret up to his gun about here, that will make sure that neither of his side cheeks are flush to the enemy, but it'll also make these angles on his front turret cheeks hard enough that most people aren't going to pen. Now I think that's the only mistake he is making, is he's not wiggling his turret upon firing, because once you've fired your shell, there's no reason for your turret to be pointing exactly forwards anymore. Though it is counterintuitive. Yeah, see there, he got penned through the turret cheek. I think he got penned through the turret cheek anyway. That was rather a fast view. As that wasn't me controlling the camera, that was Fax who decided he needed to look and see what happened to his tank. And he's taking a lot of fire, but nobody's actually doing any damage. And I love the fact that our IS-6 is actually using Fax as cover right now. Now this would be a good time to shoot at the low, as the low is way too far forward without any real protection. We got a good shot into the lower glacis of the low. And of course the I-6 pulls out and gets hit for a lot of damage. Yeah, finish off the VK. Good job. One more gun out of the fight is always worth taking out. Unless of course your shell does like 800 damage and the guy has like 4 health left and you have a bunch of tanks around you. Maybe then you don't take the shot. Most of the time, every single time you can take an enemy gun out of the fight, do it. Even if it's only a scout tank. As long as you're not exposing yourself to insane amounts of enemy fire to do so, or putting yourself in an incredibly vulnerable position. I love the way that he's angling his tank as he's driving forward. This makes it much harder for the enemy to shoot at him. Well, no, not shoot at him. In order to penetrate. So, oops. He stopped angling his tank, got his track blown off. The Tiger II didn't aim all that well. It probably took a snapshot and hit his tracks instead of his lower glacis, which he was probably aiming for. Now, all of our friendly heavy tanks are charging in here, trying to do damage, and all they're really doing is getting themselves shot up. It still takes Fax charging through here, absorbing fire as he goes. Nice shot on the Tiger II, take him out, and now he's going to jump in front of this Black Prince. Now, the Black Prince actually can pen him at this range if he hits his weak spots. Yeah, there we go. So it's important to either keep moving with the Black Prince or make sure he doesn't have a clean shot at weak spot. Now, for some reason, Black Prince has decided that every other tank other than Fax is a threat and has decided to start shooting at all of them. Obviously, that didn't go well for him, and Fax's team is just plowing through here. Now, there is a Jagdpanther 2 around here somewhere. Ah, there he is, way back there. And he's actually been putting in fire on Fax for a while now. Because of the fact that he's been camoed up behind that bush, probably with a camo net, he hasn't actually been spotted until right then. Now, that's again, Fax was driving straight at the enemy. It was a lot easier to pen him. If you're zigzagging slightly, it makes it a lot harder to get penned on the move. Because unless somebody's flushed in front of you while you're doing that zigzag, sorry, breakfast is not happy apparently. Sorry, while you're doing that zigzag, as long as the enemy is over here while you're bouncing back and forth kind of thing, it increases the likelihood of them bouncing shots off you. Even if you're in a light tank, try and do this. If you're in a light tank, you're doing this because it's more likely they'll miss shots. Also, whatever you do, if you're in a light tank driving forward and you're doing zigzags, never, ever, ever be consistent with your zigzags. They will simply predict you and kill you. Good job. So, while you're doing zigzags in a light tank, you gotta remember to mix it up. Do a short zig and then a long one and the short ones, and mix it up as best you can. If you don't, you will die while doing the zigzags because they'll just predict where you're going to end up. Now, Fax is having a really great game. He is looking for his top gun, and it's over here in the form of a comet. Now, if he scopes in, that's going to be a tough shot to make. He's got to let the gun aim all the way in, and then okay, so I'm going to stop this right here. Our T-71 is currently trying to commit suicide. Why he isn't dead already, I don't know. There's much better ways to be doing this. So our T-71 has decided to stop right here in the open. He is maybe got a little bit of cover from this ridge against the comet. But for the most part, he is completely in the open. And he's firing an autocannon at a comet which is behind, which is pretty much hulled down. There's a little bit of his rear end exposed. That's interesting. So if I hit shift, the outline goes away. Interesting. Anyway, so as you can see, there's a little bit of his rear end exposed and a little bit of his turret exposed. The rest of it is covered up. The likelihood of the T-71 penning anywhere on the comet at this range, at these angles, with the front of a comet pointing at him, mostly covered up, extremely unlikely, to the point where this is ludicrous. Now, yes, our team is capping, so you only have 17 seconds. But he's been sitting here for about 20 or 30. That's enough time for him to skip, or to pop down here, zip along here, and up and over here. Now, you can pop over this ridge here, and fire down onto the comet. And that's what I recommend you do if you're ever in this kind of situation with a light tank. is go around the back of tanks. Because he's only got 31 health left. He is a one shot from death. The fact that he's not dead yet actually very much surprised me. He should have been dead about 10 seconds ago. Stay alive. You earn more experience for staying alive. Just by the fact that you're still alive, you earn more experience. And you always have more chance to do damage while you're alive. Yeah. Now, Fax is getting frustrated with the fact that he's missing some of these shots. But we're talking about a 400 meter, well, 380, right, shot with a KV-4, which isn't exactly the most accurate gun in the world. The fact that you managed to secure that kill at all was pretty good. I'm very glad that you actually let the aimer settle in all the way, despite the fact that other people may have been trying to take that kill. That was very impressive. Most people would have snapped off 2 shots without letting the aimer go in all the way, and that would have lost you the kill. 1300 base experience without premium, without a daily double, and 48,000 credits for his ace tanker, fire for effect, shell proof, duelist, high caliber. That's not high caliber, that's a bruiser. Wow, I am epic. Cool headed. I didn't even notice he got that, but that's pretty awesome. That's the one I was trying to remember from the other day. Steel wall, and of course his top gun. Almost 4,000 damage done over 6 kills. Very, very good job. Now he is head and shoulders above anyone else on his team. The next best guy on his team was our T-34A5 with 1,300 damage and 2 kills, and our IS-6 who kept jumping in front of shots. This was a monster of a game for Fax, and he was truly the reason that we won that game. 28 shots fired, 16 penetrations. His job right then wasn't actually to get kills. It was actually to absorb as much damage as possible and not die, which he did very, very effectively. 8,400 damage blocked by armor. That's not including what went into his tracks or what got absorbed by his health. Dishing out almost 4,000 damage along with another 800 damage in assistance, which I'm guessing means he either spotted things, to doubt, or more likely he tracked things that then got killed. This was an epic game. Now, wow. One last thing I do want to note is that this game netted him the mission where he had to block 8,000 damage. Yeah. So, not only did he get 16,000 credits for this amazing game, he also netted another 75 on top of that for his mission. Great game. Thank you so much for sending it in, Fax. Have a great night. This is ioEther out.